My name is Joseph Brzezinski, and I'm giving my speech for my speech class. This is my audience.
Okay, he's behind his head.
Now, somewhere in my mom's basement, there's a picture of me in my diapers, banging pots and pans together. I'm celebrating the Detroit Tigers winning the 1984 World Series. I was only 2 years old, but it was a happy moment for my family. You see, my family, baseball played an important part. Not only is there pictures all over the walls of various family members, but it's all the conversations I would have about baseball with my uncle growing up. And I was proud to have the opportunity to work for 3 Major League Baseball teams, including the Detroit Tigers. And even though it was a fun job and I got to do a lot of things that most people don't usually get to do, it wasn't the kind of lifestyle I'd want to live. But baseball is more than just a pastime to me and my family. Let me tell you why. You see, even though baseball isn't even my favorite sport, and growing up in Detroit, there was a lot of other sports, and baseball fell down my list of priorities, baseball was always more of a family connection. You see, not only was there the picture of me in my diaper celebrating the World Series, which I hope has been lost by now, but there was also a picture of the stadium that night in '84 where it looked like the clouds opened up and the light descended on the park. That picture still hangs above the dining room table at my cousin's house. You see, now, not only was it important for my family and important to work for the Tigers, but I had a fun time working for them, even though it was only for a short time, 3 days before the season even started. I worked for a company that Major League Baseball teams would bring in to work their Fanfest, which is when they would do interactive sporting events before their season started. Now, when I worked for the Tigers, it was great because I lived in Detroit and I had all the comforts of home. I could sleep in my own bed, and because of the weather, the Fanfest was held indoors at Joe Louis Arena, which is where the Red Wings play, which is also my favorite hockey team. So not only did I get to work for the Tigers, but I got to stand on the same ice surface that the Red Wings played on. And this was great for me. But I also worked for the Florida Marlins and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays. So this job had a lot of aspects of a vacation. Not only did I get to stay at absurdly nice hotels in Florida, but I had all my meals paid for and many other perks that I could brag about. So it was a great job. But even with all these vacation aspects and meeting people like Jack McKeon, the Marlins manager, who was never a dull conversation, and Dontrell Willis, the then Marlins star pitcher, who now actually pitches for the Tigers, I also got to play wiffle ball with a few of the players. So it was a great experience. But even with experiencing that and with such a fun job and very little responsibility that I had, it's not the kind of lifestyle I want to live. You see, living out of sleeping bags and suitcases and hotel rooms isn't really what you want it to be. Because all the people who I wanted to stay in contact with, like my friends and family, I really couldn't. And cell phones and emails are great, but it's not the same as a hug or a simple handshake. So even like most pro athletes are probably friends with the people they work with, as I was with mine, you kind of get sick of being around the same people every day, and it became taxing. So, and not only that, but I hated going out to eat every day. Eventually, you just get sick of going out and want a home-cooked meal. So it's not the kind of lifestyle I want to live. So even though working for these 3 baseball teams was great, and I loved doing it, and that I learned a lot about people who have traveling jobs, and there's things that I did that I can always brag to my friends about, it's not something I want to do full-time. So even though me and my family still have a love for baseball, I don't think it was something I'd be interested in.
I didn't